Hey, hello. It is Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. This is Catherine Dahl here at the Audacity Factor. It's kind of an interesting experience feeling like you're just kind of talking into the void, which, hey, I am. And I enjoy it. I sit here and kind of just riff about what I am inspired to talk about for the day. And a kind of, I've found myself kind of waiting for reactions or comments or likes or views or all the things. And I think it's kind of, I guess it's based in sort of an expectation that my words have an effect somewhere, good, bad, indifferent, whatever that may be. And I think so much of our life is around that same concept. Are we waiting for someone else to say something, do something, be something, change something? What is that we're actually doing in this kind of holding pattern, dependent on what someone else is doing? Instead of us going ahead and maybe and taking some action ourselves and focusing on maybe what we need to do, what we need to say, who we need to be, and embracing that instead of being in this constant state of expectation, reaction. What is the saying? Somebody else is talking and all we're doing is waiting to respond or waiting to react, waiting to have something to react to or to respond to, waiting to kind of pounce. And so much of that can be about waiting for somebody to do something wrong. In any relationship, this is something that will undermine everything for you. If you're in a state of expectation, I learned this literally was after I was getting a divorce from my daughter's father. There was a book called Mindful Loving, and it's all about expectations and understanding the effect they have on your relationships. Now, I have a kind of in broad sense relationship here with my community on YouTube, on Patreon, on Instagram, all the places. And it's based kind of in being able to gauge if I'm having any impact. Being able to gauge maybe what people want to or like to hear or what they respond to or how it's helped them possibly or how it's kind of got their neck up in a rough, whatever the reaction or response is. But I truly don't have an expectation of needing something to happen. This is all, I do this for you. I think it helps me in a way that it conveys my desire to have an impact, a greater impact in the world. One that my one-on-one coaching did not. It was able to impact the person I was coaching, but outside of that, I think it's a really a much broader impact that I desire to have and I desire to create in the world. However, back to the expectation piece, so many times we can have this list of expectations. We can have this set of guidelines. Once your relationship transitions from, let's say, dating to being official partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that is for you, it then the guidelines then transition to something else. If you really admit to it and look at it, but we don't ever show that to the other person. We don't ever give them the opportunity to agree or disagree. But what happens is when they in turn don't meet this expectation that you have, you get disappointed and they get somehow punished for not meeting this expectation you have. So what in essence the expectation does is you're setting them up for failure and yourself up for disappointment. You can't ask somebody if they want to do something, and how you respond or react is dependent on their answer. If you're going to let you need to let someone answer freely and openly what they actually want or don't want. You know, my ex was a big one with this. He wanted a particular answer, and if I didn't give that particular answer, I was then in turn punished in some way. Typically with him, it was a complete disconnection, silent treatment, you know, the whole gaslighting, passive aggressive behavior thing. And if you can't, if you're going to have expectations, it's up to you to let the other person know what your expectations are and give them the opportunity to agree or disagree. No different than, wouldn't you like to know what their expectations are of you so that you can agree or disagree? It's worth a conversation. And this goes for your workplace. This goes for familiar relationships, can be some of the most difficult or challenging because we all kind of grow up, the majority, and maybe not even the majority anymore, but we all grow up in some fashion or another that's guided by some authority figure in our life, whether it's parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, foster families, whatever that is. We're not in a position where we get to choose what we believe, how we act, how what our behavior is, what our thinking patterns are. It's kind of clannish or tribalish, or and to be able to have the safety and the connection, the belonging of that collective, we have to behave, act in a certain way, oftentimes believe a certain thing, believe in a certain way as well, because it's expected of us. If we're going to be part of that, then we have to, these are the guidelines. And again, oftentimes we learn them from a very young age forward, where we're not really in a position to agree or disagree. And if you throw a temper tantrum, you get punished, right? And a lot of times the punishment is disconnection. You have to go to your room. So you don't want that. So take a look. Are you in this constant state of expectation? Are you in a constant state of waiting for your significant other to do something wrong? According to you, they're not meeting an expectation that you have, that maybe you haven't even discussed with them, and maybe you haven't given them the opportunity to agree or disagree with. You know, it's like having a script, and we're given scripts all over the place from the time we're born, right? How many times have you heard somebody describe, well, I'm my father's daughter, and whatever that means to them, they are this certain person when they think of their relationship with their father. And it's not a fact that they've actually chosen it for themselves. There's been some kind of reward punishment system to go on for them to actually believe that and then act that out. And it may not be anywhere near who they actually are, who they want to be, but they don't know how to undo it and feel safe at the same time. So I encourage you today, take a look. And even if it's just with whoever the closest person to you is, maybe if it's your significant other, this is a place where it can be so destructive when you have these scripts that they don't even get to see, where you haven't even talked about it, and they have one for you too, that you it's by happenstance that you learn what the script and what the expectations actually are, because you inadvertently do something, say something, are something that doesn't meet with their script, their expectations, their agenda for you. And you're then in turn punished, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that's what I was supposed to do to be in relationship with you. And then what are you using in the same fashion? Expectations, these agendas, these scripts can be one of the most undermining and common things that we use against others and against ourselves as well, because there's as a transitions coach, we have this idea, idea that each person has this this image of what they're who they are ideally. And oftentimes we don't even tell anybody what that is. We barely admit it to ourselves. But oftentimes it's created by others. So I encourage you to check that out. Think of how do you picture yourself in your ideal? And maybe that's someone you're not yet, or someone you don't even want to be because it's a version that was created by others. So what script do you have for yourself? What expectations do you have for yourself that you are punishing yourself for not meeting? Ones that maybe you don't even want. So I encourage you to take a look at the scripts you have for others. Take a look at the scripts you have for yourself. The relationships that you're struggling in the most, and the one with yourself too. If you're struggling with one with yourself, this can be a key area for you to look at. Where are you not meeting your own expectations? And are those expectations even reasonable? Are you even admitting them to yourself? And what about with everyone else too? And are you feeling that, the scripts that you're given aren't ones that you even want to act out because you've learned, right, kind of the reward and punishment system of a particular person? A lot of times that can be family, or that can be work related. It can be friendships as well. Is that friendship or relationship based in acting out these scripts that you don't even want to be acting out? Somebody else is telling you have to act this way or you're not welcome here. You have to be this person for me so that you can belong, even if it's temporarily in this collective. And recognize that, and this is something I am going to say, and this was a familial experience for me, is that oftentimes each person will have a different script and different set of expectations, a different rule book for different people. It may not be the same for you as it is for someone else in your family or a friend or whatever that is. And if you're feeling that, it's important for you to recognize why and what it is that you can do about it. You can't do anything about somebody else's script unless you want to approach them directly and have the uncomfortable conversation and say, look, this is how I'm feeling about whatever, being in your company and when other people are around, or when whatever it is. And I noticed that you don't have the same guidelines for anyone else or for the rest of the group or whatever it is. It's worth the uncomfortable conversation, or you can literally just remove yourself from the scenario. If it's something that you are not willing to do, then that's absolutely your choice to not participate in someone else's rule book set of expectations or scripts or guidelines. But you have to determine that, as everyone else gets to determine that as well, because it's about them. It's not about you. And for you, it's about you. It's not about them. So are you having this list of expectations or guidelines or a script or an agenda for someone and they don't even know what it is? Or you've not given them the opportunity to agree to it or not agree to it. And what about for you? Do you have that agenda for yourself that you haven't given yourself the opportunity to agree to or not agree to? And are you living out agendas or scripts from others that they haven't given you an opportunity to look at and agree to or not agree to, that are creating struggle and suffering in your own life? That's my question for you all today. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Please join me on Patreon. You can join my free membership. I am going to do some exciting things for that right now. And I think it's going to be a monthly drop in there for all memberships, whether it's free or either one of the paid levels. Please join me there on Patreon. The link is below in the description section. Also, please subscribe here to the Audacity Factor channel. Hit the likes on the videos and please share as well. I would love to reach as many people as I possibly can. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow.